So we were discussing the struggle for resources in films like Mad Max, Fury Road, and water and fuel are valuable commodities in this barren place, and there's the whole plot is fighting to get control of that water and that fuel. These films suggest that environmental collapse could lead to a future where the basic necessities of life are no longer guaranteed. Humanity's survival depends on who controls the last remaining resources. So these films give us some valuable ideas that eventually, when there is a breakdown of society, of governments, and life becomes like people living in a wild place like savages, then whoever is able to control the resources becomes the most powerful. And such extreme climate events, as we know from famines and drought in Africa or in other developing countries, they lead to mass migrations, they lead to the creation of refugees, and they lead to migration, and people are displaced. And this theme of migration and displacement is central to many dystopian climate films. So migration and displacement is one of the major issues facing the world, along with poverty and hunger and water scarcity. So this migration and displacement, it is caused by climate change. Often there are places where there are extreme climate events, and the countries are developing countries. So people try to survive and leave their countries. So migration and displacement is an important theme. So as rising sea levels, desertification, and extreme weather events render large parts of the earth uninhabitable. Films like The Day After Tomorrow explore the idea of mass migration in response to climate disasters. As populations in the northern hemisphere flee south to escape freezing temperatures. So this mass migration is also a result of climate issues, and this film, The Day After Tomorrow, 2004, shows this thing about refugees and migration. And we also know that what happens when people become refugees and they try to get into other countries through illegal means. There is great suffering for them, and many of them die on the way. So refugeehood and migration are traumas created by climate change. And even when they flee to other countries or other parts of the same country, there are so many issues there where they sort of overpopulate a place which may be already tight in resources, or they may be entering a country that does not welcome them. So there are many things that complicate this matter more, and climate change is something that needs to be dealt with, and these films do it very well when they give you these pictures which should be taken seriously of what life could be if this refugeehood and migration continues. So this is an example in this film, The Day After Tomorrow. People escaping the northern hemisphere, trying to flee south to escape freezing temperatures. The collapse of civilization and social order. Dystopian climate films often portray a future where the collapse of ecosystem leads to the collapse of civilization itself. So this is very simply said that when human beings exploit environment, they call trouble for themselves. So this is shown in the films, in these dystopian films, that the collapse of ecosystem leads to the collapse of civilization itself. In Children of Men, environmental degradation has contributed to global infertility, leading to societal breakdown and widespread chaos. These films serve as cautionary tales about the potential for climate change to trigger not only environmental disasters but also political, social and economic instability. So as mentioned earlier, climate change is not only related to extreme weather events, but it affects all walks of human life, all interests of human lives, and makes life difficult. So climate change is not only about environmental disaster, but the far-reaching effects of climate change that can be political, social and economic. So we are seeing that a lot in a continent like Africa, where the droughts and the shortage of water and famines have created political instability and have created gangs and rival groups. So society is torn and affected by these killings, also by the violence and the warring and the feuds between different groups. So life descends into chaos. So films are cautionary tales about such occurrences which are created out of climate change. So it's not only films, but we see a lot of TV shows also. We have a lot of series on Netflix that are about climate change. So several notable climate films and TV shows: An Inconvenient Truth, 2006, The Day After Tomorrow, 2004, Before the Flood, 2016, Years of Living Dangerously TV series, 2014 to 16, Snowpiercer, 2013, and Inconvenient Truth, 2006 by Al Gore. So we earlier mentioned An Inconvenient Truth, and it was a landmark documentary directed by Davis Guggenheim and featuring former US Vice President Al Gore. It is widely considered a landmark in climate documentary genre. Overview: the film is centered around Al Gore's campaign to educate the public about the dangers of global warming. Impact: what made An Inconvenient Truth groundbreaking was its ability to translate complex scientific data into a format that was accessible to the general public. So this is what films do. They can break down scientific data and process it and present it to the public in a way so that they can understand it. It spurred a global movement advocating for policy change to address the issue, including the promotion of renewable energy sources, stricter environmental regulations and international agreements like the Paris Climate Accord. So one can see that such documentaries are eye-openers. They influence lawmaking, they influence public opinion, they influence policies. So after this documentary, there were a lot of important outcomes. The government took note and they suggested regulations to restrict the promotion of renewable energy resources, to restrict the promotion of non-renewable energy resources, and to have stronger environmental regulations to reduce the carbon footprint. The film Day After Tomorrow 2004 is also an important film, directed by Roland Emmerich. It's a science fiction disaster film that imagines the catastrophic consequences of climate change on a global scale. So, it talks about the effects and the catastrophe caused by climate change on a global effect. I did mention that climate disasters are normally shown in a very large canvas. So, here it is shown in a global scale. The film follows Jack Hall, a paleoclimatologist who discovers that climate change is triggering a series of extreme weather events. The rapid onset of a new ice age, the scale of the storms, and the immediate freezing of entire cities are far-fetched exaggerations. So, they may sound exaggerations, but they do give a warning of such possibilities in the future. So, we already know about the earth that there have been warming ages in between the ice ages that the planet has faced. So, presently in the Anthropocene age, we are supposed to be in a warming phase, and after that we would be going towards an ice age. But because of human intervention and human becoming agents of change in climate, the warming is a bit higher and the ice age will be pushed away further. So, these are the changes that are brought about by human activity on a very large scale. So, such films can be a wake-up call to the potential dangers of global warming, and even if those dangers are exaggerated for cinematic effect, they do hit home and they do give the message that something very drastic can happen, something very grave will happen, and something needs to be done before such things happen and humanity becomes helpless before the effects of climate change. Before the Flood 2016. Before the Flood, a 2016 documentary produced by Leonardo DiCaprio and directed by Fisher Stevens is a comprehensive examination of the global climate crisis. DiCaprio visits the melting ice sheets of Greenland, the smog-covered cities of China, the disappearing rainforest of Indonesia, and the drought-stricken regions of the US. So, we can see that there is a way of connecting climate change with a global perspective. What is happening all around, and the effects are not the same everywhere. If in Greenland the ice is melting, in cities like China which are overpopulated, there is smoke and fog, that is smog in the air. And in Indonesia, the rainforests are disappearing, or there is drought in regions of USA. So, through this, there is a global perspective in this documentary, and it says a lot about the different consequences of climate change in different countries, depending on the geography, the culture, and the kind of land it is. Along the way, he speaks with scientists who are studying the impacts of global warming, as well as political figures like Barack Obama, Pope Francis, and Ban Ki-moon, who discuss the challenges of addressing the climate crisis on a global scale. So, in this documentary, many scientists are interviewed who know a lot about global warming, and political figures like Barack Obama who supported environmental causes, and Pope Francis and Ban Ki-moon. So, all these people are ones who are into this idea of saving the environment, who are leaders in saving environment, and they support the environmental movement. So, when, as I also said earlier, that when celebrities enter into these environmental movements, the environmental movements pick up more strength and more people join them, and more people are interested in them. Before the Flood emphasizes the interconnectedness of environmental destruction, economic inequality and political inaction. So, Before the Flood addresses the idea that these environmental destruction goes hand in hand with economic equality and with political inaction. All these things are connected, creating communities in which people are very poor, and the political inaction, and connecting it with the government which does not respond to the call for help. So, all these are connected with environmental destruction. So, there was the TV series in 2014 to 16 titled Years of Living Dangerously. Years of Living Dangerously is an Emmy award-winning documentary television series that aired from 2014 to 2016. So, as the title itself tells you, the ill effects of climate change, Years of Living Dangerously. Each episode of Years of Living Dangerously focuses on a different aspect of climate change, such as deforestation, droughts, rising sea levels, and the effect of extreme weather events. The series covers a wide range of climate-related issues, from the destruction of rainforest in Indonesia and the droughts affecting American farmers to the political battles over climate policy in Washington DC. So, these series cover different issues from different parts of the world, and also talking about how politics is impacted by these climate issues, how politicians try to benefit from the inequalities and the issues created by climate change. Years of Living Dangerously was praised for its innovative approach to climate storytelling and its ability to bring global environmental issues into the living rooms of everyday viewers. So, as we see today, Netflix has made it possible to see films and all of our choice in our living rooms, and there is no shortage of choice, and one is not bound to see everything that the family is watching. So, the individual response is there. If people are interested, they will watch that. So, such series brought these stories to the living rooms, became a source of personal interest for people, and people could discuss global issues, and it was something that became an everyday concern and an everyday conversation. Now, let us discuss the film Snowpiercer, which was mentioned earlier. Snowpiercer was made in 2013. A dystopian thriller set in a world where climate manipulation has failed. So, interestingly enough, there is an attempt to reverse global warming, and in that attempt to reverse global warming, there's an error, and so an ice age comes onto the earth. So, in the world's in the world of Snowpiercer, humanity's efforts to combat global warming using climate engineering technology has backfired, plunging the earth into an uninhabitable frozen wasteland. Snowpiercer uses its climate change backdrop to explore themes of social injustice and inequality. Bong Joon-ho's unique visual style and dark humor makes Snowpiercer a standout in the climate dystopia genre. So, as I did say earlier, that it's a film that must be seen, so that you may be able to understand the far-reaching effects of climate change much better. Snowpiercer has since been adapted into a television series, which continues to explore similar themes in an episodic format. So, we can see what happens when climate films are successful, then they are taken up by TV, and so here it is again being aired in episodic format, taking up various issues related to climate. So, it is a film that you must see so that you can have more depth in your understanding of this course, which will lead you to better grades. So, the films that we have mentioned, they need to be seen to develop your perspective and a deeper understanding of climate change and how literature, cinema, art, theatre, all these things deal with it. Climate change as a narrative in drama. Climate change, one of the most significant global challenges of our time, has increasingly become a central theme in dramatic works. These dramas, whether films, television series or stage plays, use the backdrop of environmental degradation and climate crisis to explore a range of human experiences, moral dilemmas and ethical questions. So, what happens when climate change is adopted by the world of drama? Then the idea becomes more powerful, more compelling, because drama is something that is living. So, and these dramas, whether they are there in films or they are television series or they are stage plays, they put environmental degradation in their background and climate crisis in the background, and against those backgrounds, various human issues are discussed, various moral dilemmas are discussed, various ethical questions are raised. So, by incorporating real world scientific findings and transforming climate change into a narrative force, these dramas engage audiences in the pressing issues of sustainability, responsibility and survival. So, these dramas, they bring in scientific findings which make things very real, and they make climate change a narrative which forces the viewers to question themselves and to question their existence in the world. They are able to connect to the real happenings of the world, and they are compelled to reflect on issues like sustainability, responsibility and survival. It brings into focus the individual future of every human being and what he and she can do to make it the best, to preserve it to the best for future generations. So, these dramas are also very important in highlighting climate change and in promoting the idea of working towards reducing climate change and making the future a better place to live in. So, what happens in the narrative, in the drama? What does it consist of? If it's connected with climate change, there is storytelling in it, and this storytelling is real world storytelling. It may be something that is put in the framework of mythology, but it is real world, because the mythology also is reinterpreted to present day reality. Sometimes climate change is presented as a character with moral dilemmas and ethics. So, they try a variety of techniques to present the issue of climate change. It can be very personal. Climate change itself can be a character. There can be a connection with mythology, and along with music and dance, drama becomes a powerful tool to reverse climate change. Moral dilemmas are brought forward, ethics are brought into the stories, so one can relate to the things that are happening in the present day world. One may connect to the present day happenings. There are dramas which can deal with climate activists like Greta Thunberg and her following, and what happened as a result of her rebellion against the government policies which did not consider climate change as a problem. So, suppose if there was a drama on her, it would be an eye-opener, because everybody is already aware of the work that she has done, and she has a big following. She has started a climate change movement. So, such things also come in narrative form in drama, and thus they make drama a very powerful living tool to work at climate change. So, it is real world storytelling that finds a place in drama, and real scientific findings also find a place in it. So, because the aim is to enlighten the audience, the aim is to awaken the audience to the grave events, the grave reality that we are facing, to sort of warn and alarm the audience about the fear in the future, unless and until something is done about climate impact. So, for that, solid proof is needed. Therefore, real scientific findings are incorporated, and so the narratives are set in real world scientific data and projections. Dramas offer audiences a window into the stark realities of environmental crisis. As a form of climate education, blending fiction with science to make the abstract and complex concepts of climate change more relatable and emotionally engaging. So, the idea of climate impacts, it becomes more humanized, and one can understand the impacts on human beings through drama, because drama is a mode that is very direct, that is living, and that has a very strong human element in it. So, it passes on this message more powerfully to its audience. The complex world of science is blended with fiction to carry the message of the seriousness and the gravity of extreme climate events, and thus the audience gets a wake-up call. So, drama is extremely important films, theatre and drama are all very important as powerful tools for change in society to work towards climate change. So, let us stop in this lesson. We will continue on this theme in the next lesson. Hope I was able to communicate some important ideas related to drama in this lesson. I hope you enjoy watching the films that we have mentioned and you can build a perspective on them. Thank you.